Got it. And you have consciously made a choice to not call yourself a GCC and more like an India center.
If you see, even the IIT grad has to go through ramp up time of 12 months or so, because the semiconductor flow, the RTL design, verification, physical design, DFT, these are all various skill sets that an engineer has to learn, right?
All right. As compared to I learned how to make a protein powder in the previous startup. I'm going to sort of do the same thing now to work, right? Or I know how to print logos on t-shirts. I'm going to do it again for you. Not going to work.
In the current generation, what you asked for, we are also looking for a skill based talent. It's not about the experience based. So concept of experience based hiring is like slowly moving away.
These companies said that, hey, look, we are not going to just take a student directly like that. It is only, the job is only via an internship. Because now no company wants to just put you on a test and then say that, hey, look, very good, you passed the test, you gave interview, very nice, we are giving you permanent job now.
Is it talent or tags?
He has the richest network, right? But that's part of his job, right? So something like that.
So
Yeah,
if you
very
look
well
at
put. Actually, Anand, I'm really happy the way you put it. That access to information. That's the point. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, no person is successful without having a right mentor supporting, guiding him.
A very taboo topic which shouldn't be taboo. Let's say, for example, anybody at IIT, you say he's gone through a certain rigor and he's there and that's why he's good. But then when you look at it, the process of getting into an IIT has so many layers in it. Not always the best talent gets there.
It's a first filter is better for them. They have advantage with that filter. But then after a couple of years, after 5 years, they have to go through new filter. And I'm sure some of these guys who were qualified but couldn't make it just because they didn't have that privilege would eventually start shining up later.
If you have not put in the rigor during your studies, and then you get into the semiconductor space, you will not be able to survive. You need to have that kind of analytical thinking, problem solving, hands on tools proficiency in semiconductors.
So a lot of kids have got gift, but they just don't have enough facilities and avenues available around them because of where they are born.
99 percentile, which is like, that means you have to be in the top 1 percentile of Maharashtra to get an admission, right? But this is for the open category boys, which is the category that has no reservation or something. So they need to be that. But if you see, the student who comes in last would be at 50 percentile or 40 percentile.
You have the same kind of drive, the intellectual capability, and the hunger, as well as the exposure and all of that, which is kind of normalizing, right? IIT and non-IIT colleges and all of that, and the system per se has acknowledged that, and now everybody is entering using the same examination.
How do you identify potential then?
Good question.
So that's the filter. Sometimes the college gives you some filter. Some filter. I'm not saying that's all.
So whether he is demonstrating commitment, whether he is disciplined, right, he is having that great passion and perseverance, right? So those are the basic common qualities we all look for, right? And that's
True.
what decides the long term success for each one of us.
You have to choose either of the two.
Yeah, one of the
He
two.
didn't
If
say
he
that.
says Deepika
He didn't say
Padukone
that.
or Katrina Kaif, you have to say one of them. You
Between
can't say.
That
दोनों
part of
चलेंगे
you
बीच में
can't,
भी
that part of
चलेंगे.
You'll have to edit that now. This has got too much.
No, neither. Both are old.
Hey, welcome everyone to another episode of Titan's Talk. Here we are with another panel of experts. So today, as we are targeting more towards GCCs and with GCCs become GVCs and all of that, right? We wanted to talk about how do talent is acquired in these kind of GCCs or GVCs, and then whether it is the tag that matters more or is it the talent, and if the talent matters, how does the talent get identified? And we have people here from those bespoke GCCs in India, and we'll have their perspectives and we'll go from there. So Deepak, why don't you introduce yourself and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Myself, Deepak Tanna, when I passed out of VIT in 96, the chip design at in India was at, at its infancy, right? And but my curiosity was abundant. And early in my career, I realized that engineers, while engineers solve problems, it's the true leaders that they anticipate problems before future shows up, right? So this mindset has driven my journey throughout, from architecture development for the cutting edge electronic chips to mentoring future leaders, right? And at present at Intel, I'm a principal engineer leading architecture and microarchitecture development for cutting edge soft IPs. That delivering solutions that balance performance, efficiency, scalability, reusability, and configurability.
Got it. Ashutosh?
Hey, thank you, Gautam. So this Ashutosh. Um, so I've kind of worked for about 20 years now and have worked in various different disciplines. I started with ERP systems after my MBA, then got into consulting for a couple of years. Then I joined General Electric, worked with them for 15 years across multiple businesses like capital, healthcare, transportation. And then currently I'm working for Optim. But just if you look at from my experience perspective, kind of gone through across multiple portfolios and domains. Also, though kind of I have always remained closer to systems and applications, it has changed from traditional ERP systems, supply chain applications to more kind of cutting edge new technologies, which are driven by optimization and algorithm. So currently, I work with Optim, where we kind of drive cutting edge technology that's driven by again optimization AI to solve logistics optimization challenges. And I'm the managing director for Optim India.
Thanks. Anant?
Thanks for joining everyone, and thanks Gautam for bringing us all here. Um, I currently am a leader at Reliance Jio, but over the past decade, I have spent time here in Bangalore in the startup sector, across the board from an early stage in Flipkart to the post Walmart days when I left that in 22 to an interesting 0 to 1 problem statement at Swiggy, and then Ajio, and then now with Jio. It's been a very interesting journey. Very disconnected from what I did right after coming out of VIT as an industrial engineer. I joined Mercedes Benz, and was responsible for making sure that 6 cars are manufactured each day, right? And all my 115 boys and men are well behaved. So this is very different, but it's been a very exciting journey, building in India for Indians, and moving fast and learning along the way. So yeah, that's life.
Sharat?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Sharath here. Thanks, Gautam and Karthik, for bringing us here and meeting all of you. It's a good privilege to having here. So I started my journey in 2006. Like I work as an HR talent network manager for Infinite Technologies Bangalore. My journey started in call center. I wanted to be an engineer, but unfortunately no. But having said that, I'm enjoying my life today with the degree of management what I have. It's been a trend that I have seen that how the hiring happens like throughout the year, throughout my career, hiring patterns have changed now. Moving from traditional way of hiring to skill based hiring, university hiring, how the industries are connected with universities in terms of the academia, what are the roles and opportunities are available for each individual. Earlier people were struggling to get a job. Now we have various variety kind of a job where people can choose, though we know that scenarios and things have changed over a period of time, but we are in a good situation and scenario where people can choose the opportunity and build their own career. There was a limited opportunity, but if you see the current trend now, we have a number of opportunity where people can grow in their own level. Yeah, thank you.
Karthik?
Yeah. Hello, Karthik from Vishwakarma Group. I've been with VIT since 25 years now, and since the last 8 years, I'm looking at training and placement. So we have almost currently we are having about 2,500 engineering students who are graduating from our colleges. However, in the next couple of years, this number is almost doubling to 5,000 engineering students graduating. So my role is to find internships and full-time job roles for them. So generally, around 30% of our students go for master's programs. That's our the way the statistics is. So out of 2,500, about 1,750, 1,800 are interested in jobs to enter the job market. And since the last couple of years, we are doing around 1,500 to 1,600. That's our numbers. We are moving at 1,500 to 1,600 out of the 1,750 who are by and large interested in jobs. So I think in terms of numbers, we are doing well. Also, One thing is because of our geographic location in Pune, and also the history of the college, and the tie-ups with so many industries that we have over such a period of time. But obviously, we are looking at bettering the quality of the jobs and internships that our students can get. Thank you.
Perfect. Got it. So, I want to kind of, not sticking to the script, go a little, you know. So, I want to ask you, Ashutosh, from you. So, let's say, for example, it has been ODCs,
Mhm.
then it was called something else, it was offshoring, then now it is called GCCs. Now, people are, leaning or inclining towards GVCs. What has changed in India, do you think, because you started from a consulting and then you moved up, right? What has changed in India, and why do you think these kind of centers want to set up in India, and what is the India advantage right now, Ashutosh?
Sure. So if you look at, I guess it started with ODC. Even when I joined Oracle, we used to be called ODC Center in India. And I guess if you look at what has happened in last couple of decades, it's a value chain change which has happened, right? So I guess if when I look back, I think changes happened for good. That's a eventually expanding value chain proposition overall for developing global capabilities, right? From skill sets, expertise, as well as delivering value for the global organizations. So when we had ODC concept was, hey, we have to do some work, let's get it done through offshore team. And cost arbitrage was the major driver then 20 years back. I guess as we kind of look forward, what's happening now, cost arbitrage is becoming less of an advantage. It's a skill sets, expertise, and ability to hire the right talent that has become more of a driver. Okay, with India, we know demographics, institutes, etc. We definitely have the advantage with the young population. Right now, the names have changed, but I think what has changed with those names is also the concept around what we expect from the talent. It's no longer that, hey, I'm going to get the cost arbitrage. Hey, I'm going to get the right talent, and it could be anywhere in the world. India gets the advantage because we have the right ecosystem here. Okay. So I think whether it's GCC, whether it's GVC, essentially we're becoming larger part of product ecosystem, which has to happen. Also transitioning from typical services mindset. That's what happened 20 years back in India. Okay. And I guess the terminologies are evolving along the way, but essentially, how do we become more part of the product ecosystem than just a service provider is a change that I think is happening and need to happen for betterment.
Got it. And you have consciously made a choice to not call yourself a GCC and more like an India center for your
Mm.
company, right? What is the thought process behind it, and what is a typical GCC, and how do you, differentiate Optim from that?
Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't talk about Optim, but I would say the reason whether you call GCC or some terminology, hey, how do you work with your global team is a essentially question that we're asking, right? Is that differentiated with saying, hey, this center is supposed to do this kind of task, or you are kind of part of the product team? You could have some resource sitting in India, you could have another resource sitting somewhere in Europe, you could have another resource sitting somewhere in US based on where you have the right talent, and they kind of solve same problem together. So we don't have GCC as a name here. It's just you're part of the larger ecosystem and you're part of the one team. So I guess geographic location is no longer the boundary. It's more of a talent, skill sets, and your ability to work together.
Got it. Got it.
Mm,
So thanks.
mm,
So, as in Deepak, coming to you, right? So, you are one of the OGs, not you, as in your firm is one of the OGs.
mm.
If you look at it in that term, you've been having, an Indian presence for a long time. How do you think your work has evolved, and what kind of things were you working on versus what kind of things are the new kids working on? And, how do you think the whole ecosystem has evolved, Deepak?
Yeah, so when, as I said, when I started my career way back in 1996, right? So there were handful of companies who were into chip design and semiconductors, right? And you see the no, the opportunities were limited, but gradually we have, over the period of 2 decades, we have moved up the value chain, as Ashutosh was also alluding to. Earlier we had cost arbitrage, but then we gradually moved up the value chain, right? So same thing has happened in the semiconductor industry also. So if you see from the talent point of view, right? So there is a, no doubt there is a common belief in the semiconductor companies that the pedigree from the pedigree, or the student from the reputed institute brings in very good fundamentals. They are good at analytical skills, problem solving skills, and they can learn and adapt very quickly, right? While that is true for the new graduate from IITs or big institutes, but if you see the semiconductor industry, it's about deep skill requirement in the semiconductor industry. And the even the student from the reputed institute, they have to go through the specialized skills development, the domain specific knowledge acquisition, right? If you see, even the IIT grad has to go through ramp up time of 12 months or so, because the semiconductor flow, the RTL design, verification, physical design, DFT, these are all various skill sets that an engineer has to learn, right? And so initially they may get the initial jump start to get into the company, they get the foot into the company. But over the period of 2 years, it doesn't matter from which college the student is from. What matters is the performance, what skills they have acquired, what products they have hands on worked on. That matters the most after 2 years of time.
Got it. So, I want to, have a natural flow
Yeah.
towards Anand. Anand, so you are building stuff for India, for Indians in India, which is, we have never been, building anything for us. We've had copycat companies like this of that, that of US, this of India. So that is what we've been building. But you're building now stuff for India, in India, with Indians. So, as in, what do you think has changed, and why do you think? We're building stuff for India now, and less focus towards building stuff for others or
Hmm.
services.
See, good question, Gautam. Why companies like me or leaders like me are now interested in building for the Indian audience, right? Both be it the end customer or enabling businesses to go ahead, is because there are two things, right? There is a requirement side of things, and then there is a readiness side of things, right? At my end, requirement is basically you have Indian businesses, right? Like I'm running a startup growth accelerator, all right, nested in my company, which helps small businesses, very small, who haven't received funding. It can be a two-person company making T-shirts and selling it, to many of the say startups who are selling you protein powders and apparel and this, that, and the other, who have raised millions of dollars, in seed money and series funding. The idea is that the reason is there's a clear amount of understanding, and I would say appetite from these companies, saying that, hey, you know what, I want to the Indian audience who I'm reaching out to, and the environment I'm building in as an entrepreneur, has evolved a lot. I cannot use off the shelf products suitable for, say, an American market or a EU market or anything other than this, because this is very, very different. So someone please build for me, and I will consume. Right. So there is a requirement, and that once that is in place, you have organizations like mine, right, who are saying that, hey, you know what, I can build for you because I see scale here. All right. Today there are like 200 entrepreneurs, that it'll go to 2000, and keep on increasing. The Indian consumer ecosystem has evolved. There is readiness to try. There is more experimentative inclination for the end consumer like us, right? If someone is putting out a um, low gluten free atta or something, today we are more likely to try it as compared to 20 years ago, where my mother is like, I don't know that brand, I'm not going to buy, right? So your consumer psyche has opened up, because of which the builder or the entrepreneur ecosystem has gotten more enriched. And building for the entrepreneurs, or enabling the entrepreneurs, or enabling the Indian ecosystem, will naturally one level up upstream, is going to get ready for it. All right. So, and there is a larger appetite to um, what do you call, make in India for the Indian consumer, or make in India for the Indian entrepreneur to be able to cater to the Indian consumer, and that is only going to go up.
So, as in, when you are building for stuff in India for India, right? So, I also wanted to understand, generally GCCs or
Hmm.
lot of companies don't like to baby these people, get them up to speed and all of that. So do you prefer experienced talent, or do you prefer freshers, or is it not freshers or experience, or more about a mindset? What kind of people would you be looking at to build in your team?
Understood. See, it's not an easy answer, all right, but it's a mix of all of these three, all right. I would be less inclined towards experienced talent because in today's India, and building for say startups, building for today's I would say the new Indian consumer, you don't have anybody with 20 years of experience, because 20 years ago this wasn't there. There wasn't no startup, right? There wasn't even Flipkart 20 years ago, right? So you don't have people who have a legacy experience, and legacy experience kind of doesn't work here because the evolution cycle is very very fast, right? So even someone with 5 years of experience cannot get hard industry knowledge and say that, you know what, I did it in this company 5 years ago like this, so I should be able to help you, is not going to work. It is the mindset, it is the I would say the softer aspects, like the willingness to sort of take risks, the ability to be able to sort of get up quickly after you fail, and work in an ambiguous environment where the challenges are not known to you, right? Those are the skills you kind of are linearly going up, all right, as compared to I learned how to make a protein powder in the previous startup, I'm going to sort of do the same thing, not going to work, right? Or I know how to print logos on t-shirts, I'm going to do it again for you, not going to work, right? Or so on and so forth across categories in consumer brands. So and so be it in other aspects as well, right? Gaming startups, let us say, talk about software. So if you've done something, if you've built a wonderful game, say just to sort of drop names, a Dream 11 senior executive would not be would be less accepted at a My 11 circle, or the competitors of a Dream 11, because he comes from there, all right? Because the everybody knows there are no industry secrets at this point in time in this world, because talent is very free flowing. It is more about, hey, you know what is it, what elements of culture, risk taking, ability to work in an ambiguous environment. Can you drive on a straight road, or whatever road, with the lights off, and be okay with it? And if you hit something, are you okay to fix yourself quickly and get back on the road again? So it's more of that. So I would say, yeah, long story short, the answer is looking for the mentality. And I think as a leader, I have also switched from a traditional automobile manufacturing industry where I first started right out of VIT, that hey, experience matters, right? Someone with 20 years in Tata Motors would be like, given a throne in Mercedes Benz. But that's lesser and lesser the truth, and I'm happy because I can also continue to stay young throughout my life and say, you know what, I'm going to go to a new industry with the mentality, and maybe 30 years down the line I might be touching say, or cross the retirement age. But if I choose not to sort of fall to that trap, I should be able to hold on to these fundamentals which I spoke about, that your the attitude you bring to the table, that I'm going to choose every day is a new day. You pick up your problems, but you learn the softer aspects, like how do you sort of get up soon after you make a mistake, how quick, how good you are with ambiguous problem solving, and your risk appetite. You're going to keep on going.
Got it. So, I wanted to, ask you, Sharad. So, say, let's say at Infineon. So, when, companies used to hire people, if they knew, matlab, you, how your hands work, how to work on a computer, to talk a little bit of decent English. So, used to hire them and then train them to companies' expectations. How has it changed from, how you used to hire versus how you hire, and how has your expectations changed? And how was the pay scale changed, Sharad?
um, See, in every organization, there's a concept of, we lead as a leaders that misses. So it's an organization, it's very much necessary to have a right leader at the right position. When it comes to expertise and the experience, they bring lot of potential and direction to the organization. So in that sense, what will happen is when the person comes in as a leader, we expect them inducting to the organization. It's very much less time. We don't have to spend so much of time in the organization where they're going to be. They bring lot of expertise, they bring us domain experts, they also bring in people to the organization. So with this, what will happen is, unless until you have proper direction to any of the team, they'll not be able to grow. But having said that, in the current generation, what you asked for, we are also looking for a, skill based talent. It's not about the experience based. So concept of experience based hiring is like slowly moving away, like the way he said. And he also mentioned that IITians or non-IITians are coming into the picture, whether once they induct to the organization, how will they treat it in terms of the pay scale, or in terms of the how we're going to uh, have in the organization. It will remain same. There will not be any change when they pursue with their career. So coming back to your question, so leaders are very important when we choose over the experienced people over the upcoming freshers. It's important to have in the organization, as I said, like every time you cannot be like sending emails or connecting with them meetings. I know you, you know me from the different industries. Just a phone call away, it will solve the problem. So there are many aspects. It's not only about the organization, how we are driving. It is also about that how involved you are, how committed you are in terms of bringing the expertise. So as a leader, the whole package comes in. So when we hire, it's not only about the person whom we are hiring, it's also about the knowledge or the domain expertise which they're going to bring in. So as a leader and the experienced people, that's how it helps the organization to grow on. In terms of the space scale, yes, it's an industry driven, and we need to see various background, either it's a software or the semiconductor, or it's coming from a different non-engineering background. We decide upon how the pay scale is structured. But having said that, it is like, on a overall scenario, if you look at it is industry current trend, what has been up and running, we match to that. So, and also to balance the team, as I said, we are moving to skill based hiring. We also look at the freshers hiring as well, and the current generation, what their experience and bringing in. He just mentioned, like, 5 years, 6 years can do the work of 10 years or 12 years. Absolutely true. I mean, we are seeing that in the current generation. But quite importantly, senior leaders is also quite important as we compare to juniors as well.
Got it. Got it. So, Karthik, on natural progression, you've been in training and placement for over a decade now, a little closer to a decade probably. How have you seen this whole hiring trend change? Because, for example, when we were hired, we had a basic aptitude test and, just a personal interview, and we were hired as engineers. But then now, the hiring trend has changed. What are you seeing in this hiring trend? And say, for example, a student is preparing, how should he prepare himself?
Yeah, good. So going a little bit further behind, when I passed out of engineering in 1997 in Pune University. So all the colleges that we had, PICT, VIT, COEP, in Pune, from where companies come, those days, the dream companies were the IT services companies, to tell you. None of the others existed actually. The product companies, the startups, it was not there in the 1990s. All that was there were IT services, and they were hiring for Y2K projects. And they were the dream companies for all students in the 90s. Then in the 2000s, what happened was the IT services started hiring huge numbers. From every college, they would hire 100 each. I'm not naming them, but everyone knows the companies that would hire 100 from each college. They were actually called in our training placement office jargon as truck companies. I mean, they would bring a truck literally and take students, because you're taking 100 kids, means you're going to take them in a truck, back. So that was the jargon used by training placement officers internally. This was the 2000s, right? And placements were such that if a college had 600, 700 intake, the IT services would take 400, just the 4 5 of them, right? We all know which ones they are. Like they would take 500 out of 600. That's it. Placement was done. Then after 2015, it started changing. These IT services, their numbers started dropping on one hand, and even student interest in these IT services companies started dropping, because by and large they kept the same salary package, which is like that 3 to 4 lakh salary, which they have stuck to it since almost 20 years now. 2.5 to 3.5, 4. They came to around 4 lakhs. But on the other hand, GCCs and product companies, banking, finance, a lot of it, they started coming since the last 7 8 years, and their median salary was 15 lakhs and so on. And but then what happened was these companies said that, hey, look, we are not going to just take a student directly like that. It is only, the job is only via an internship. Okay, so this concept was again just not there even 8 years back when I joined my placement office as an officer, where the idea was, company will come and give a job. That is also now it is like, even in IITs and any college that I look at their stats, almost 50% of the hiring today is happening only through internships. It's a very big change, because now no company wants to just put you on a test and then say that, hey, look, very good, you passed the test, you gave interview, very nice, we are giving you permanent job now. No one wants to say that. They say that first in 2015 when it started only a summer internship. At least 2 months in summer you come down, and then we will confirm job to you. Then slowly by 2018-19 it became a semester internship, where one semester you have to intern with us, and at the end of the semester we will tell you. Now it is year-long internship. With Infineon, we have year-long internship. With Intel, we have had students who went to Intel as a year-long intern. And then only their job was confirmed at the end of the year. So we tell the students also, hey, look, the times have changed. You have to prove yourself. So from student perspective, what has happened is, one change is there's an uncertainty. When they take an internship, they don't know whether that will give them a job. And at the same time, they can't sit in other placements. Because if they are interning with some company in Bangalore, whatever, they have to come to office 5 days a week. They don't have time to come to college every day and sit for placement processes. So it's a risk they take, but that's it. But any other company that will come also is asking for internship only. So increasingly that's how the placement is happening. So to answer your question, it's not just, of course they are doing all that aptitude test, programming if it's a IT job, and then a couple of round of interviews. Most companies have 3 rounds of interviews. Most companies do hackathons now. With Infineon we had a hackathon. Through that all the hiring was this year, right?
Yeah.
So the ways of hiring are remaining either the same, or it's become even more competitive, you may say, because there's a hackathon and then there's an interview, all that is there. And at the end of it, it's an internship that you get. And you have to prove yourself for minimum 6 months or a year before which it comes up. And this also, I'll tell you, 7 8 years back, the statistics was 95% of those who would go as intern would get converted. It was almost taken for granted thing. You got an internship, 100% getting a job. Today that number is 60%. So companies are also kind of saying that, okay, we will take 10 interns and then 6 of them we will convert, 7 of them we will convert. You have to be good there. So that requirement of having to prove yourself and demonstrate is increasing. So I think this is a changing time. I mean, I gave you the perspective from 1990s till today, how things have changed so
Yeah.
much.
Just to add on what Karthik said, since we are collaborated more with VIT Pune. In fact, a couple of years back, also, if I see our interviews were, it's just like normal face-to-face interviews or online interviews. In fact, our most of the hiring started for the hackathon. It's been 3 years now. This year we are like more successful in terms of the hackathon. This gives a fair opportunity for all the students. It's talk about their skills, also the potential, and internship as well. See, now if you look at earlier, only 2 months internship. By the time they join, they settled on 1 month is done. So how the fair opportunity is given for everyone? How are we evaluating their potentially as well? So during this internship process, we evaluate thoroughly, be it in terms of their potential, how they are involved, what is their skill base, how they are bringing into the organization, what's their thought process, are they interested to do the work what we are given, and we also see the stability as well. So during this, it's a win-win situation for the students as well as for the organization. It's not necessary that if we say yes, the person has to accept, or the person say yes, we have to accept. If both are accepting, it's a win-win situation. This also serves the long-term relationship in the organization and along with the students as well. So that's the benefit out of it.
So, as in, thanks, sir. So, as in coming back, right, Karthik, I wanted to, kind of talk about this whole, is it talent or tags? Do people, do you
Is it
find
talent or, beg your pardon?
tags, tags of
Mm.
IITs and NITs? So, people come to VIT Pune. It's a legacy institution. You've been there for a long time, and still the best of the best students from the state come there. But that said, are you facing challenges with certain companies or certain legacy brands where they say, hey, we will not go anywhere apart from IITs. Doesn't matter whether it is a new IIT or an old IIT or a chemical engineer from IIT, but I will not hire a computer science engineer from you. How do you?
I'll tell you. See, every college, every brand has its advantages and disadvantages. So I'll put it very clearly how it happens. If you see in IITs, the hiring that happens, it happens only in about a 15-day window, if you know their calendar, right? Because that's how they are. They say generally it's December 1st to December 15th, and if all the kids don't get hired in that time, they may do another 15-day period. Okay, so that's how IITs operate. They say that these 15 days are there, companies come and they do. And then they have system where companies will come on day 1, day 2, day 3, in that slots, and students will apply for many companies, and one student will get obviously many offers because it's simultaneously happening, right? And so on. Now what happens in colleges like ours, the advantage I'm saying, which is why I'm saying that most of the companies which go to IITs, many of them, they come to us also. The reason is we run the show 365 days a year. I'll tell you, we run the show throughout the year. Daily we have on campus around 4 companies. Our number right now is we run about 900 companies in a year. And if you count about 250 working days, excluding Saturday, Sunday, and New Year time, and all public holidays, we are running 4 companies daily. So what happens is, see, companies obviously they will, why they go to IT, obviously because of the, not only the brand, because obviously everyone understands that the students who go there, they have cracked a very tough competitive exam like JEE Advanced, and they believe in that quality. That's where they go. But then when they come to play, but the advantage they see coming to a place like ours is we are open throughout the year to give you students. And I have so many cases where it happens that the company went to IT, they have taken some students, they have not joined them. This typically happens now in June, July, when the joining happens. Some student has not joined, and they have their numbers to meet, right? So they say, hey, do you have? We say yes, we are open throughout the year. We are not running a 15-day show of placements, right? So it's like throughout the year we are running, day in, day out. You come anytime, depending on what you want, we will give you that target crowd. You're looking for internships, you're looking for a high quality kind of a role, whatever, you will get students. So that's the, what shall I say, the pitch in that we have to them. So I'm not seeing that as a major thing, the tag. We eventually, I certainly believe one thing: eventually if the student is good, he or she will find opportunities. This, none of these, I mean, going a little beyond, I would say that none of these educational tags at all will matter at the end of the day. If you're good, there are opportunities in the world, and there is a democratization of this happening also, of placements. Like if you see, many companies are hiring via hackathons these days, and they are open hackathons. They're not even saying just IIT or tier T1, whatever, in the tier ABC level. No, it's open to all. So that democratization is also happening increasingly, if you see. And I think that's good from a student community perspective, because the idea that goes is, hey, look, you're good, you prove yourself, take it.
Yeah,
That's
very
it.
true, very true. I have a point to add, Gautam. See, the tag, well, let us understand where did it come from in the first place, right? You should understand that IITs are one of the earliest established, fully technical campuses in India. Like there are campuses like COEP which go even beyond, but these have been done with a very conscious, idea that like AIMS is for medical, right? So all the facilities, laboratories, professors, right? Like IIT Mein, they went abroad and got a whole lot of Indians as well. That hey, you know what, there is an element of nation building happening, right? So all of that and the right intent, which was not there apart from these 4 5 IITs at that point in time. Now there are some 25 IITs, right? And that is also not enough. And that um, setup, right? That you have very good faculty and mentoring, concept, good laboratories, and very good industry connect. That is now not limited only to a certain set of institutions. Thankfully, like that is it's an element of the country developing also, right? So why does the US have like 800 universities or something where Indians are going and aspiring to go, right? We are also becoming that, right? It will not be very far where when VIT we will have non-Indian students. It's already there.
Yeah, we have.
We
We have
have,
Yeah.
foreign students.
but tomorrow we will have people aspiring and competing for
Yes.
this, right? So I'm saying that is not too far, It is, it's not an aspiration, it's a reality, right? It will come right now. So I'm saying it's an element of your um, ability to provide opportunities, which is your laboratory, right person to inspire the children who are coming in. And how what is the kind of magnetism that delivers, right? How many other people who are who you'd like to be around with, are present over there. So I think as long as that is happening, it becomes an automatic magnet for industry or for any other opportunity. Let's not say industry, right? For if someone wants to start something up right after they finish, right, the avenues are present. And like what he mentioned, that they are going two steps beyond the IITs and having this 365-day approach. That is how VIT has been. They've been a startup kind of an approach in this field for forever.
Yeah,
Be it say exchange programs, be it international MOUs, and all of that. So I think we'll see more and more of that happening, and the tag thing will dissolve, very slowly dissolve. And that's good only.
yeah,
So let
rightly, sorry, yeah.
go.
No, so rightly said. See, what's happening is there are advantages and disadvantages as well. See, because of so many constraints, we are not able to get the students from the IITs or NITs. See, when we look for 6 months or 11 months, they're not able to give. When we want to sign some of the MOUs, because of the central government law, that's not allowing to sign MOUs. So because of that, we are not able to collaboratively work with them. It's just that if they are IITs, can we enter into the organization? At this point of time, no, that is not the way now. If you're IIT, good. Well, I mean, you deserve to be an IITian. But when you're looking for a job, when you enter to the organization, there are other certain parameters they say. It's now you're just an IITian. Can I exempt you from the test or the interview process? No. We give the same similar test pattern to IITians, non-IITians. This time we hired, actually maximum number of students are hired from VIT Pune for Infineon, I would say, from the hackathon. So having said that, it's a neutral comment I want to say. In my previous organization, it was only IITs and NITs used to hire. Then I asked my MD, we are hiring almost 100, NITs and IITs. So like, does it worth? I mean, we give so much of package in terms of the stipend, then we convert. Then he said, Sharat, in this batch, if one person clicks, I'd be very happy. So thought process of him was something different. So it means that the differential thinking from the IITs or NITs will differ. Maybe yes, I would not say no. Second option, whether are they restricting from saying no to some of the opportunities? I would say yes, it's restricting them. Many have talent they're not able to showcase. And availability of the talent as a non-IITians also variety of opportunity. We also seeing the talent. Our organizations are running in a mixture of all these students. As a time, it's a skilled based industry now. It's not anymore tag based industries. Yeah.
So
No,
let me
this is
add a perspective here, right? And I guess there are multiple dimensions here. There is no one dimension, right? So first dimension is, of course, uh, there is a fresher batch that's kind of getting ready in IITs, NITs, and other colleges. Okay. As an organization, generally, if you look at, I've been hiring from institute for last 20 years with my current organization as well as previous organization, GE, and we would generally go to Premier Institute, right? Why would I go to Premier Institute? I guess certain things are given. They've come through competitive exams. They are hardworking. You expect some minimum level of IQ that that's better than what you will get other places. So that would be the thought process, and you would hire with considering that you will generally get the good talent that will work well for organization and grow with the organization. Right. So I guess, and even when I look at with my current organization, we generally hire from campuses because we want to build the pipeline. I always say, hey, don't expect from these guys that they will come and solve your complex problem in their year one of assignment, but year two, year three, they stay back and stay with your organization, they become real asset. And we are seeing that already. Because I've been with Optim for 5 years, and some of the guys that we hired 2, 3 years back, they become real assets now. Okay. So I guess that's one dimension. Second is, hey, you want to, do you need fresher versus experienced guy? I think you need balance of both, right? You're not going to get a fresher and ask him to develop product and he just doesn't have those skill sets. You got to have some sort of experience as well as fresher, all combination in a team for that team to be functional and efficient, right? So depending on what you require, we do some lateral hiring, we do some hiring from the colleges. Now, when you go for lateral hiring, that's where tag becomes relatively less important. And that's where your experience, how you kind of present yourself, what you've done, all that kind of becomes more important. So I guess it's a different dimension based on what you're looking for, how we want to hire. Even what I've seen is in some cases, uh, there are guys who were hired mm, uh, off IIT or let's say more of average government institutes, and they perform exceedingly well, right? So you do have those guys, those kind of click in here. So eventually, what you look for the guy, there are three aspects, right? Hey, you want to have a guy that fits in your culture, works well with the team, he's kind of team player, etc. Second, you expect the hardworking. Whatever said and done, we say work smart, but you know hard work generally is required before you start working smart. Okay. And third aspect is thinking out of the box. Is the guy coming with his own independent thought process? Is he creative enough? Does he kind of challenge the status quo? Does he think differently? And I guess third aspect is that's where you will see after you kind of click first two boxes, then third aspect becomes a lot more important. First two you have to click, and then third is when that's based on that is your growth is driven. Okay, so I guess when I go to IIT, somehow there is a feeling and there is a track record. Maybe chances of success are a lot more because of the pedigree you got and because of certain examples which have been set in past. Having said that, it doesn't mean that you go to other colleges, there are no shining stars there. Often you come across those shining stars. Again, it's all depending on what is worked for you in the past is what you tend to do.
So I wanted to ask you, Ashutosh, say for example, right? Say, you go to IITs because your selection becomes easier because they've done the first two levels of filtration already. Somebody who has gotten is a big thing. Somebody who has got out is even a bigger thing once you go into IIT kind of thing. So then, it helps you. But then, what are the chances that you would consider an institute which is a non-IIT or a non-NIT, or what are the chances a talent that wants to work with a fresher who wants to work with Optum, but it's not an IIT or an NIT, but has got the caliber, what
Yeah,
chance does
there
he
are
stand?
chances available. We do look at some of these competitive coding, etc., those platforms. If guys have done really well, and sometimes, like I personally get LinkedIn notifications saying, "Hey, I'm very interested in working for Optim. This is my profile. This is what I've done," and we do kind of evaluate those profiles. So it doesn't mean that doors are closed. When you are in IIT, you kind of get some amount of red carpet because we walk in and we look for those candidates there. But if you are not, the candidate has to put a little bit extra effort to prove himself. But it doesn't mean that doors are closed for them. As long as they're able to do well in some of this competitive coding and those platforms, and they have to put some sort of effort to reach out to the right kind of industry players and showcase their skills, showcase what they've done, showcase their intent, showcase how much willing they are to kind of join your organization and prove themselves. And I will tell you, I have a couple of examples. They've joined and they're doing really well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Just one point can I add in that,
yeah, sure,
Gautam?
please.
See, going back to this tag thing, you need to study the model of education in India. How our children are getting into colleges. If you see at 12th standard, there is this one exam, right? By and large, if you want an IIT or NIT, you have to give the JEE exam. There are so many very good students. Somehow on that day of exam, right? Everyone blunders, right? I mean, you have even Virat Kohli who sometimes despite knowing that you should not nick the ball, ends up nicking it to first slip,
Yeah.
right? He has been told, he knows that there is a danger.
Mm.
So there are many good students. If you see carefully, just based on that one exam, you can't define how that fellow is. So there are many. So that's why the way the education system is in India, what I see as a teacher and as an observer of this, any college you go, the top 10% of that college, right, by and large, will tend to be very good. The top 5% or the 1% of their college can be outstanding. Any college. I'm not just saying about the college where I'm serving, but by and large, you will see that. Because because there are so many factors. It's not very linear. that all the guys who are truly the best in every sense of the term will go first to this A set of colleges, and then only the B set of colleges open up, then only the C set, then the D. It's not like that. You do see this. I mean, there's so many outstanding guys. And if you then go back and ask, hey, you see, how did you land in this place? He will have his own story. What happened? I was sick one day before JE exam. I didn't give. Something would be there which will explain why the guy couldn't do well on that particular day
Hmm.
on that given exam. So I think this is something that if you are just a general observer of this whole education thing which is happening right in India, you can see this. Uh,
That's why, Karthik, every organization asks for day zero or day one slot.
yeah,
Yeah,
because they want the
yeah,
top five
cream layer.
percent.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
True that.
yeah.
So Deepak, in your organization, how do you guys evaluate tax? Because once a guy gets in, then it doesn't matter where he's from. That is very clear. But how does he get in? So
Yeah, so the as they were saying, right, the student challenges and hackathons are being done, right? So the students, the reason they are in non-tag institute, it's could be any constraint they have, right? Maybe financial location, or whatever rank they don't have, right? So these days companies, I will not talk about specific about my company, but in general, semiconductor company also, what matters in semiconductor is proof of the skill, right? The hands-on project experience, right? So if a student has demonstrated that they have done so and so projects through hackathon or through student challenges, that Infineon like companies are doing it, right? So and then they publish their mini projects on LinkedIn, right? So those kind of things provides them visibility, and then the companies look for semi trained people, basically, right? See, for example, in company, semiconductor company, if the team is under pressure to deliver on a tape out schedule, right? So they can't babysit freshers, so they will look for semi trained, or some people who have some exposure to the tool set, or some projects they have executed, right? So that gives them the edge, and that's how they get hired, I would say, the non tag ones, right?
got it. Got it. I want to, to move to a little bit of a tag, but a semi tag. Okay. So, like, for example, IITs, NITs is a very good tag to have. Okay. But then let's, shift to, somebody who is a non NIT, non IIT, but has good connects in terms of parents. Let's say your son is working in ISRO, ISRO, and then your father is from DRDO, your son is in Walmart. Now your son is already in IIT JEE preparations last time when I saw, and then you are head of a GCC and you hire at Infineon, talent acquisition people. So, for example, how important is let's be real. How important is having the right connect for fresh talent to get into the right industry or the industry that he is interested in. So I want to hear from you, Deepak.
Yeah, so first I'll touch upon my personal story that you are talking about, whether how my son got into
Mm.
Walmart kind of an
Uh-huh.
internship, right? So then I'll talk about in general, right? So my son, at Bits Pilani, for many months he didn't have any internship, basically, right? So and he was struggling to get internship, and he was so upset that he's not getting, his friends are getting placed one by one, everybody. And then my wife also used to say that you have so much of a big network, why don't you refer your son? I said, I'm old school thought, basically. I want him to figure out his own path on his own. That will help him boost his confidence, build his own self esteem, right? So after a lot of attempts, right? So I didn't do anything, I didn't have any connects, I didn't provide him any connects. On his own, through the campus, he got selected at Walmart, and then he is really doing well, and that I see, the kind of confidence he has now after that, right? If I had used my connects, then he may not have had that confidence built in, right?
Okay.
So I
So
would say, I mean, just to add to that, right? Yeah, some of us are privileged enough because we've been working in corporate. We have the network that we can use. But I guess what's more important for our kids is the learning and coaching that they get from us. Mm. And possibly they see us day in, day out, how we work, what we do, how we handle certain situations, how many teams we handle. And that there's indirect coaching, there's a direct coaching, there's kind of observatory learnings that come along the way. I don't think that means that they necessarily get advantage from connection. I guess it's more the benefit they get because they've been watching and learning from you consciously and unconsciously. And somewhere you also set example for them that you have to stand up for yourself, you have to work hard to get through your way. And I guess that's more important for the kids than saying, hey, because we are privileged, we have some connections that would help them. I guess that would secondary. And today's world, no one is privileged, right? Even if I, let's say, I get a CV, once I put it through, hiring manager has full right to deny the candidate because he still has to go through all the interview process and protocol that we are laid out for the team. But so learning and coaching, I guess, that's I guess that's a benefit. If I were to consider like some of my son with, let's say, my cousin who lives in Nagpur and doesn't really have necessarily same environment, he just doesn't have ability or opportunity to observe and learn from the surroundings.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, what I want to say in this, I agree very much with Ashutosh what he's saying, uh, and also Deepak what he was saying, that privilege, what it can give you is, if you are from a privileged background, so to speak, where your parents, have contacts, etc., you can only come to know the ways in which you can approach these companies. So for example, in ISRO, so since my son was interning there, uh, once we went in, we understood that they are looking for so many good students from all over India. But what is happening? There is a gap. There is a gap between many organizations. Let's not name ABC, whatever. Every company wants talent. Everyone is looking for good talent, right? Whoever it is, whether it's a Walmart or anyone, everyone is looking for talent, and there is talent available in the market. Okay, but the process of bringing that talent to the organization, in that there are gaps always, no matter how well the HR guys are
True.
trying, to marry that particular these two parties, there is always some gap. Because of which what happens is, though all organizations, both government and private, are truly democratic, I believe increasingly that's how it's going to be in India, where they are, just by some recommendation, they're not going to take. You have to really be good, then only you're going to get it. But because that gap is there, so someone of a privileged background, he will know how do you actually do the steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that you can land in that place. That's the only thing a privilege can teach you, vis-a-vis, like
Mm.
as you said, someone
Yeah.
may be in
Yeah.
a tier C city in India where he may not even know
Yeah.
that. Arey Baba, how do I approach these?
Yeah.
Right? Like he was saying, right? Even though they hire from IITs, if you are good and you demonstrate through certain ways, they will take.
Yeah.
So there is a process for every company. You
Mm.
may be Microsoft or Google also. There is a process by which you can. So a privileged background person knows that process.
Mm.
So he
As an
can tell his son
advantage.
or daughter,
Yeah.
hey, look, this is
Hmm.
the process. You follow this,
Yeah.
you will land in this place.
Yeah.
Right? But companies truly are all democratic.
Mm.
Nobody is going to just, even if I'm sure anyone who's sitting here can say that just because they are in a position, they can't give their son or a daughter a job in their own
Yeah. Yeah.
organization
Yeah.
also,
Yeah.
No.
if
Very
they
true.
don't meet the
Yeah.
standards.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, even we will
Mm.
not have the face to show
Yeah.
that, hey, come on. No, on talent, there is no
In fact,
compromise.
Mm.
it's even more difficult
Mm.
Yeah,
because it can easily be spotted,
yeah, it
and
can
Mm.
spot it.
any failure on their part will be
Yeah.
kind
Will
of
be.
failure on you.
So
See.
that process is what the privilege teaches you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's access to information. See,
Access to info. Yeah,
uh,
exactly. Yeah,
the
that's the right
the
word.
the Sifarish culture was there in a pre I would say
Ages.
liberalization India. All right, it was a
Yes.
big deal. Okay, because there wasn't too many employers, and there weren't too many institutions also. Right, the IAS lobby was a lobby. Right, then there was this bank lobby. State Bank is a bank wale log, and then there was this there was this one.
I can sense burns.
Yeah, IIT, IASC, DRDO, ISRO, ये वाला एक lobby, right? So I would say कि there are these court वाला एक lobby होता है हमेशा से, High Court, Supreme Court, lawyer lobby. So सिफारिश works, right? But the thing is now we have moved to a it is in fashion to not be part of a fancy household, but I did it myself. I'm self-made. Bolna has become mainstream and fashionable, and I'm thankful to that for the nation in the direction in which it is going. Right. So, in fact, for his son gotten into ISRO, that guy would be finding it hard to prove that, hey, not because of my dad. I would have otherwise also got it. You understand? It was a struggle for me also until a point, right? Hey, my dad got, he's a government sector employee. I've never worked in anything sarkari ever. So nahi hai, like, but what, in retrospect, how has that helped me? You see, there is a value system thing which we can never put it on paper, all right? Ki just because you, like he said, no, access to information wala cheez hai, but let us say, if my father used to get a lot of academicians home, used to get the right kind of industrialist, and maybe we are in network with them, or I hear him speaking to them or speaking about them, then I understand ki yaar, what I see in TV and newspapers, and that was the only available information, right, back then, is one thing. But the reality mein wo sada hi aadmi hai, right? He's a simple chap, and he hasn't really gone to the moon to be able to build the organization or something. So you know what? It's doable. I can do it. All right. So for example, why does a doctor's son end up becoming a doctor, or a cricketer's son is interested? It's not easy to get access just because you are, your dad is a doctor or a lawyer. Why they do it is because they are able to see the path, that you know what, hey, this is interesting. And if you're not a Supreme Court lawyer, you will feel that, hey, it's the most difficult thing in the legal profession to go to a fancy ILS kind of a law school, and then go slog through your life and become that a top cardiologist in, say, a city like Pune or Bangalore. He you we would not know कि यार बहुत पापड़ बेलने पड़े होंगे, right? But his son would, or his daughter, or his brother's son, for example, will have the access to be able to see, huh, matlab, you know what, I see what he's doing. I've seen how he has gotten there, and I see his reality minus all the tinted glass today, that he's a
Mm.
simple chap. He earns only so much, right? This is how he has been playing his investments well. That's why, he might be looking glossy from the outside, etc., etc. So I can draw the dots to go there. So that is what is the access to information,
Yes.
which, say, more than anybody, right? His son will have the best access to information at this point in time to be able to make a career choice than anyone, because he has the richest network, right? But that's part of his job, right? So something like that.
So
Yeah,
if you
very
look
well
at,
put. Actually,
Mhm.
Anand, I'm really happy the way you put it. That access to information. That's the point. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So what I see, even there's something I told my son a week back. I was telling him something. He's like, I know this. I'm like, see, everyone in life needs mentor. Now your mentor requirements may change in your career journey along the way, but you need a mentor. No person is successful without having a right mentor supporting, guiding him. We know the cricketers example very well, right? So what happens is some of privileged kids, they automatically get mentor early
Mm.
part of their career as parents. That becomes so easy for them.
Mm.
Correct.
And then, of course, as the requirements change, they need to find new mentors for themselves. But that getting those parents as a mentor in early part of their life,
Mm.
when they're kind of deciding on choices, etc.,
Mm.
it helps them quite a
It's a
lot.
very good cold
Hmm?
start. Yeah.
Yeah, this
Actually,
is.
just taking this point from Ashutosh, one thing we have done at Vishwakarma Group for our students is this is our dream project. We
Mm,
have just started it. What we want to do is we want, because we have a very good alumni network, almost 50, 60,000 alumni. Two of them are here itself.
mm,
So we wish to see that, you know, we involve all our alumni in such a way that they act as mentors to a couple or more students,
yeah.
which is something possible for them also. Is two students you do mentorship, because this mentorship is very, very important. That one on one. Because somehow what happens, in our education system also, the professor comes, he'll teach so many things in the class and go out. That contact, that mentorship in some way, that will help a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
currently in our society, by and large, parents are acting as mentors. That's
Mm.
Exactly.
so
Mm.
so then that privileged background comes in.
Mm.
Mhm.
But if this mentorship can be scaled in, even on a social scale, I believe, I'm not just talking from my college, but if all the guys in industry, let's say, they act as mentors to just two people who are not their family people, which is possible. Even I have that much bandwidth where I can just take two guys who are not my family or my blood or anything,
Mm.
but still I can give them some time and give them
Yeah.
that guidance. If everyone does that, I think our country as such is going to have a phenomenal amount of
Yeah. Yeah.
progress, and that richness,
Yeah.
that what then that so-called privileged and that barrier
Mm.
also kind of moves away. I think
Yeah.
that will be very, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So in
well,
addition,
just
sorry. Yeah.
sorry. No, no, carry on, carry on.
So in addition to what you are talking about mentoring, through the alumni network, right? I would say that companies also need to look at mentorship, in a structured way, and then sponsor by the organization, right? So if you see the freshers coming from, we talked about the tagged institutes and non-tagged institutes, right? So if you bring in the talent from different institutes, and you have a structured program inside the company, right? You have a very well thought through training programs, you have tools set up, you have sandbox projects for the students, safe environment and controlled environment for projects, so that students can work on, implement, and show their technical skills, right? So that's one thing that is required from the companies, right? And many companies are taking initiative with that, right? Mentoring, mentorship, right? So that requires some bandwidth, maybe companies can incentivize the mentorship, by having OKRs or KPIs in their employees, key performance indicators, and then have some incentive bonuses in terms
Very
of
rightly said. In fact, we follow that structure. In fact, before any interns join, we will have a training session for the mentors. Like once they come in, like how they need to be treated, what are the projects defined. So see what we do. It's not about the ongoing project we assign them. We have a team where they review the projects. They'll say these are the projects are okay. We just don't use them as a pair of hands. This is actual work which we're going to give it to them. So projects are well defined. It has been reviewed by a board which will say okay, only those projects will be executed for the interns. Mentors are well trained. We get coaching sessions for them. What needs to be assessed, when needs to be assessed, when you have to be more alertive, more assertive. We also have a mentor mentee connect, so that they can start the early exposure to the organization. What are the needs and desires of those? So this is structured. We follow, like rightly said, it has to be followed all the way. In continuation of just, I'll take a minute. I know it's taking some time. So I'll take my example. Why mentor is very important, since he brought this topic. See, I come from an industry background. My father was running the industry. We had three children. Like my first brother went into industry. I was the third person. Like then we saw that okay, this industry is currently not going good. Like what to do. Uh, then I had no choice. I am from tier two cities. I'm from Tumkur tier two city. No much opportunity. How should I first come to Bangalore? Bangalore was the only option 15 years back where I can look for some opportunities. One of my friends suggested like just start with the call center. You just need to talk. You don't have to do anything. No skills are required. Being from a degree from the government college, and then like okay, I had hope that I'll continue with the industry. For that, I don't need any tax of any education per se. Then I'm like little confused, like what's happening in my life. And then I thought, okay, let's start with the call center. Then I joined the call center. I was there for 3 4 months. I used to be like going around with my friends. That all everything stopped. You cannot take your cell phone inside. 8 hours minimum, night shifts. It was like okay, fine. Where did I land? What's happening? So one of my manager, he was a unit manager. Um, he started talking to me. Then he analyzed that Sharat, you have a different potential. You don't have to be here, but I'll see what can I do for you. Then I said like okay. Then he suddenly shifted his job from call center to recruitment agency or recruitment firm, I would say. Then one day he called me, Sharat, there is an opportunity, and why don't you join? And without second thought, I just blindly, I don't know any industry by that time. I just blindly went and joined him. Because of him, I'm here today. My journey is like good after moving from there to the recruitment firm. Doing good. In fact, all the learnings, thoughts, be it from the current industry leaders or from my previous industry leaders, they taught me. And I was also thinking that whether I want to do engineering, I did not had that seriousness. I thought something will go fine, and I couldn't able to get in. I'm in a scenario situation where I'm hiring engineers with different area, different domain. So that's why your concentration, your dedication, your interest is more important than everything, along with the guidance and the mentorship. That's all I wanted to bring it here.
Yeah,
Thank
but
you.
it's a very good example you gave, personal. Thanks for that. I mean,
Hmm.
see, it's a role of some mentor who can actually identify. He had that. He said, right, that person identified. He
Hmm.
said that for you, this is not the
Yeah.
best place. Try this. See,
Yeah.
that such a critical input it is
Hmm.
Very
at
much,
that
yeah.
critical phase of life of an individual.
Hmm.
It can change your whole
My
direction.
my life is
After ten
learning.
years, you're
Yeah,
somewhere else only then.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to, kind of, now that we've talked about tags, right? Let's say, for example, at an IIT, we believe that the grade of the talent is great. Okay. It was a very taboo topic which shouldn't be taboo. Let's say, for example, anybody at IIT, you say he's gone through a certain rigor and he's there and that's why he's good. But then when you look at it, the process of getting into an IIT has so many layers in it. Not always the best talent gets there. It's
Mm,
because of
Hmm.
what they are by birth or what they are by economy is what gets them there. So in a very probably in a society which was improving, probably 20 years back, you kind of had to have these checks and balances so that the society grew as a large entity. But now that we are more inclining towards an egalitarian society where merit is the key thing that we all agree on,
mhm,
but still in the education system which leads up to this merit, there are a lot of layers in between, right? Like, for example, you can be an FC, an open category person, but then you've done well, but because of sheer you're a OC general category male, is like the curse
mm,
for a
Hmm.
person, and then he has to endure all the hardships. Although he had the merit, he did not get in there. But then your father could be a multi crorepati, and he you could be SC or ST,
Hmm.
and you still walk in with lower grades into a premier institution.
Yeah.
These kind of things are there. So then the whole point of IIT merit or NIT merit, doesn't it become a little flawed, Ashutosh?
It is, I guess. I mean, it's a system that's in place, and some of it is outside of our control, as we know. And that's why I guess the advantage, if let's say for certain reasons you had a reservation advantage, you get into IIT, you land in a company. So that's the red carpet you get initially, right? You would have walked in and you would have got easily your first jump. But the life changes after 3 to 5 years. And you would see a lot of those guys, they would just be average. And some of the guys may not be as privileged as these guys were in terms of the category, and they start doing well. So I will tell you, in fact, there's like 10, 12 years back, I remember talking to one of our partners, right? When I worked for G, we used to kind of work with a lot of software partners to help with product development as well as projects. And he would say, hey, he is IT, I am, you should take it. I'm like, no, I have seen him last 3 months. I don't think he's delivered. Just because he's IIT, I am doesn't mean that I trust the guy when I have seen him working and he didn't deliver what he was supposed to deliver. So I think a lot of those gaps will start appearing over next 3 to 5 years. So it's kind of, they have to go through continuous filter, right? Career is a journey. It's a first filter is better for them. They have advantage with that filter, but then after a couple of years, after 5 years, they have to go through new filter. And I'm sure some of these guys who were qualified but couldn't make it just because they didn't have that privilege would eventually start shining up later.
There
So
is an opportunity cost, right? And
it
there is a
there is
timing cost,
there
right?
is
So they get the first, it's about you getting the opportunity and the privilege of being in that institute, exposed to various great
no,
minds.
no. So that is right. It's just that how much of that is in our control is a question here, right? Uh, I guess this entire system of reservation needs to be questioned, right? And need to be looked at from the new lens in terms of current demographics, current economical status. It's see, I still believe in certain reservation. Let's say there is a guy in a village. In fact, very recently I saw a movie, this Marathi movie, about a kid in the village born to laborer, right? His father wanted him to study. He gave him a kind of 10 paisa per day if he goes to the school. He did that for first year and he developed interest in education, and then he did really well in the village school. Very, very backward village. You're talking about remote village with not having big basic access to electricity and that kind of stuff. Okay. Then he said he wanted to go to bigger town. So it was his personal drive. This guy said, I want to go to Satara to learn. And then he put him in Satara. Then he went to Pune. Eventually he became IS. Okay. What I'm saying is you will always have those kind of examples where people have to fight harder because of privilege that they may not have. But a lot of it is not in our control. I guess that's a reality of demographics that you live in. But eventually, I guess reservations need to be questioned. They do help in certain cases, like people in villages and economically backward don't really have the facilities that the person born in Bangalore to some of us, they do have access to those facilities. So
Mm.
giving him a certain reservation and giving them that initial advantage so that he can join IIT because he is economically backward, I think it does make sense to some extent, right? Because he doesn't have the facilities which are available to other kids who have the privileges. Okay, so I guess it does make sense in some cases, but the way it's done, it's still 50 years back process that need to be questioned.
Okay.
Mhm.
I want
Mhm.
each one of your opinion on that,
Mhm.
so that Deepak, why don't share your 2 cents on that?
Yeah, so I agree to him what he said, right?
Mhm.
So uh, eventually, even if you get into the IIT or top institutes because of the reservation, eventually in life, the real test would be, whether you are able to execute things or not, right? So semiconductor technology, if I talk about, it's the technology of precision, right? So if you have not put in the rigor during your studies, and then you get into the semiconductor space, you will not be able to survive. You need to have that kind of analytical thinking, problem solving, hands on tools proficiency in semiconductors, right? So those students who get into IIT but they don't put in the make use of those opportunities, then they will struggle later in the life, definitely, right? Now, whether it's right or wrong, definitely, we all agree that for some kids who are unprivileged, underprivileged, right, for them this kind of reservation, it's a good thing, right? Basically, not, it should not be blanketly applied as a reservation for everybody. You have to consider the background of the student, and then use the reservation system and provide them opportunity to learn and shine, basically.
I'll
That's
add
my
one
view.
more thing because I learned this just yesterday. As I told you, I attended the session by Dr. Ramcharan. One thing he said is look for God gift, right? Look for God gift. A lot of people have God gift, and you have to look for. Somehow the reservation system has to kind of change into identifying the people who have the God gift and they should get some benefit there. Right? So a lot of kids have God gift, but they just don't have enough facilities and avenues available around them because of where they are born. Mm. So somewhere the system can help identify those God gift s- kids or students and help them kind of grow in a society. I guess that's how the reservation system somehow has to change.
Yeah. In continuation, what he said, see, these reservations are made for certain reasons. Okay, what we have seen earlier, what we are seeing now. I feel, in my perspective, it's about us, that whether do we need to use that system or not. Unless until we as an individual change, we cannot make a complete change. See, because reservations are definitely helping some of the students or some of the people in many areas, and there are also some of the people are misusing it. So if they start saying, I don't want to misuse, I'll not use this because I'm equipped in a different way, like we said, like there are some people who are like born rich or gone gift, so they have to understand themselves and they have to give it to others. Unless until we give it to others, I will say no, then system cannot change, because the system is made for certain people, it is required. We as a people should change.
Yeah, I want to come in as a teacher here. I mean, as we were just talking, I just checked on the Google AI tool, because in the last couple of years there has been this major concern of the dropout rate of students from premier engineering colleges in India.
Mm.
If you just put on the Google dropout of the students who come through reserved category, it shows currently 47.6%. I'm not sure about the validity of that AI tool, but nevertheless, I know for a fact that the number is indeed
Yeah.
very high. See, because what's happening is in admissions, the the diversity of the marks is too much. Like if you just ask me in my college itself, the cutoff for an open category is 99 percentile. 99 percentile, which is like, that means you have to be in the top 1 percentile of Maharashtra to get an admission, right? But this is for the open category boys, which is the category that has no reservation or something. So they need to be that. But if you see the student who comes in last, would be at 50 percentile or 40 percentile. And the same thing happens in all colleges. Whether you go to IITs, anywhere the same thing happens.
Yeah.
Right? So what happens if you go to a class as well and you're teaching, as a teacher also, any teacher will tell you this. The diversity, in terms of the capability of the students that you're seeing in class is vast.
Hmm.
You're teaching a group of 60 students where you will have 15 students who are in the top 1 percentile of
Yeah.
whichever entrance exam they have come and given.
Yeah.
Fair point.
See, that's there. You can't fault them for that.
Yeah.
That's there. You can't say
True.
that, hey, you're privileged.
Hmm.
You're no, whatever. The guy has poured sweat in. He's put his sweated toilet. He has
Hmm.
got that. There are others who, now again, I'm not even saying that those who got less necessarily will not do well. See, that is also important, because as they sometimes say, lies, damn lies in statistics. So you can't just go by statistics, because you do have cases where people come from less privileged background because of reservation. They got less marks in 12th not because they weren't intelligent or less capable, but they didn't have access again to information via coaching class, etc.
Hmm.
See, if you see again in cities and all, the access to these premium coaching
Right.
institutes, that that one-on-one coaching, how to
Home
crack the
tuitions,
CET
yes.
or the JEE exam also helps, because ultimately it's a trick how you crack these exams.
Yeah.
At some level, it has nothing to do with intelligence also, they say.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just about, it's a trick. So sometimes a student could be there from a less privileged, as Ashutosh was saying, in a village. That poor chap, he's actually internally quite capable, but he doesn't have access only
Hmm.
to that.
Yeah.
So that's why he got maybe 70
Yeah.
percentile.
Yeah.
But now when he comes here, he's
It
got
shines.
access. He
Yeah.
does well. So again, I will not even say that all the fellows who came through that reserved thing,
Yeah.
they will not do well. No. Even if you go by the statistics, 40%
Hmm.
dropout, 60% didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they managed it.
Yeah.
They got less percentile, they got admission, but then they cracked it. They
Hmm.
got a 8.5 CGPA from
Hmm.
an IIT or from whichever college. From my
Hmm.
college also, I have seen that.
Hmm.
There is a student who may have come in with a 70 percentile
Hmm.
due to lack of privilege, or because there was no access to coaching.
Hmm.
Because we have seen in our college, for example, I have so many students who come from rural Maharashtra. They belong to farmer, agricultural, this thing. And in their village, in some Latur, they have so many issues, water, this, that. They didn't have access to a proper coaching in
Hmm.
12th standard. They just went to some normal school,
Hmm.
studied whatever they could, they gave an exam, they got some 70 percentile, they came. But once they come to the city and to a college where there is a good environment, they come up in life also. So I'm saying both things are true.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See.
On
Yeah.
one level, there are many of them who come like this, who are unable to handle the
Yeah.
competition, they drop out.
Yeah.
That happens everywhere. But there are some who are truly capable,
Hmm.
but due to a lack of privilege, they had not got those marks.
Hmm.
But now when they come into the system, they come up.
Yeah.
Okay. So and there are these 99 percentile guys
Hmm.
who perhaps have privilege also. They have access to information and they have that raw talent as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
They will do well. You
They
can't
will do
stop
well.
them from
Yeah.
doing well.
So
You
it's a
can't. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
this is the reality
Yeah. Yeah.
of the system.
Fair, very fair. See, I think it's an element of, so starting with the point which Gautam made, right? That IIT, does the IIT student stand out, in a hiring environment, and as a leader, should I hire that person over, the gold medal student from VIT, right? Today, the answer is no, right? And that's because you have the same kind of drive, the intellectual capability, and the hunger, as well as the exposure and all of that, which is kind of normalizing, right? IIT and non-IIT colleges and all of that, and the system per se has acknowledged that, and now everybody is entering using the same examination. The JEE mains, JEE advanced is used for entering into a college like ours as well,
Yeah.
right? And
15%. It's 15%.
so
85% is to CET. But it's
is
a
to
similar
CET,
ratio.
but then
Whatever. Yeah.
eventually everybody is moving towards that,
Yeah.
right? So eventually it is going towards. So we are normalizing, right? As a society, why was the reservation system introduced? Is because, like you said, right? The last guy sitting inside interior of Latur was, for whatever reason, say part of a certain category because society put him there, right? And that is why by selection he fit into a bracket of society to which we had a larger responsibility to uplift, right? But has that system moved, right? JE Advance has moved, right? But has that system moved? The ability to identify. So it's a selection system legacy issue, right? So voice system, if you use 75, 80 years later, system is prone to thrown out the 40% duds, right? So
Yes.
if 40%, that is a very bad, it's an alarming rate, right?
It
So
is.
so I would say, or 47%, whatever you said.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I would say that system has to update itself, right?
Undergo
So
change.
so
Yeah.
caste inequality was concurrent with economic inequality at some point in time. Today, is it concurrent? Not entirely yes, not entirely no. So does that system have a scope to get updated? Absolutely yes, right? And that is a larger debate, which I'm sure, like, for how this country has evolved, we will go through that debate and we'll come out victorious on the other side. I can bet on this society.
Got it. So, Sharath, you made an interesting point before we started the podcast on, how you go about selecting institutions and what are your parameters and all of that, right? So, if you can share, how you guys identify institutions and then you look for hidden gems and all of that. So, that would be helpful for, even the student or the parent watching to probably select those kind of institutions as well, right?
So, as an organization, we feel that some of the criteria and the facts when we identify the universities or the colleges, as you know that every road now, every area like coming up with their own college by name. I want to start this. I'm starting PU, then going for the engineering. So we need to be very careful when we make admissions to any universities or the college. Similarly, unless until we get the right talent from the university, it also affects us as well. So we choose based on couple of parameters. One is on the NIRF ranking. What does the NIRF ranking that the current university or colleges are? What are the placement percentages? How the placement percentage has been there for throughout like 3 4 years, and which are the competitor industries are coming into that particular universities. And also if we have any students working in our organization, we'll see like how they have progressed and how are their capabilities are there in the organization. And also word of mouth, like we believe all the we have certain weightage for each of the parameters. When we add up, when we put together whether it is meeting our bar expectations, then we say yes, we'll go. Having said that, as I already mentioned that there are a lot of other students who has bright in the skills and development where they do not have an access to reach. For them in a year we also reach out to minimum 3 to 4 universities, abiding all this need ranking all the criteria just to see how the talent are there from the other universities as well. That's the lipstick which we're gonna give. So if it is doing good, well, we add them to our category as well. Then we look for the bright students or the skills like who are adapt to our culture and the organization.
So, so Ashutosh, coming back to you, right?
Mm.
So, for example, we've been piloting using NIRF data, like what Sharath is told, and
Mm.
helping students in identifying college. But then, there is a larger problem in terms of companies identifying talent, and going to an IIT is just a filtration mechanism for you, so
Yeah.
that you can talk to as few people as possible and hire as many people as possible out of that. So I wanted to ask you, let's say, for example, you're hiring for, Node.js, or you're hiring for Python, or you're hiring for AWS. So, and you're looking for a fresher talent. If there was a mechanism in which, the across India, all the engineering students or all the students, whether irrespective of where they come, if you have top 1 percentile AWS fresher or
Hmm.
top 10 percentile AWS fresher, irrespective of the hiring, and then you say, hey, you have an AWS posting, and you're looking for, let's say you're giving 50 lakhs offer for a fresher, but he has to be in the top 1 percentile in India. Wouldn't that be a better mechanism compared to tags of universities and all of that?
Yeah. So, I mean, as I said, lot of times there's no right or wrong answer. There are different dimensions and lenses to look through, right? I guess some time back I was discussing with uh, um, one of my colleague in US, and he's like, "Hey, when you go to one of these institutes, MIT, Harvard, he says, hey, go just pick 15 people. I don't care. Pick 15 people, get them on board, put them in different roles across different functions, and they may have their own interests. One may have interest in HR, other may have in operations, third may have in finance. Gauge what interest they have. If they have something, fine. If not, just we decide and put them in one function. And the rationale was They just come through such a rigorous filter mechanism, they will eventually perform better and they will become top talent down the line after a few years. Okay, so that was criteria used. I guess when I'm hiring fresher, I'm not looking for Node.js skills. I'm not looking for AWS skills. I'm not looking for those skills. Maybe I'm looking for some interest here, whether this guy has a backend interest, whether he has a front end interest, whether he has a cloud interest, etc., etc. I'll look for some sort of cues in terms of what his interest areas maybe. But I don't think when I'm hiring fresher, I want to hire a technologist. I want to have fresher with a fresh mind, with fresh ideas, with ability to do more of a capability higher than the skill higher. He eventually he will get skilled over the period, right? So it's a capability higher. Okay. If I have to have skill, then I go. There are different ways to have skill, right? Then we go for someone who has actually done some work in that space, etc. And then you hire the skill. Hmm. So as I said, the team is made up of a right balance. You need some capable people who kind of generally young, willing to take on more, willing to do something. You need experienced people because they can balance with the experience and kind of give them the right direction and ensure that things get done in the right way. So you do need that balance. But when I'm hiring fresher, I will say I'm hiring capability, not the skill.
Just to give one
Mhm,
example. In fact, I noticed that
mhm,
what you said. Um, we went to one college.
mhm,
It's in Hyderabad. 6 7 panel went, and so like, usually we go like one day early, then stay. Next day morning we do the interviews and come back.
mhm,
We went hired. Actually, our plan was to hire 12 to 15 students from that particular college.
mhm,
We could able to select only six. Then we all came to airport. Our MD called like how many selects. We said like six. Six. Cancel all your tickets. Go back. Go to the same college.
mhm,
Hire six more and come back. We were like, okay, fine. We're not booked any hotel flights or already booked. Like what to do? I said just do what I say. I mean, MD. I mean, we can't say no. Then we followed the instruction. Okay, fine. Rebook all the hotels. Then rebook the flights for tomorrow. We went back. The college was like shocked. Sir, you already completed all the process. Then again you're coming back. No, no, we still have some more positions. Let's evaluate. Then yes, numbers were met like 12 we had. Then we went back and we said that. So there was an instance like we did thorough interview process. Then we shortlisted six. Then you asked us to hire six more.
mhm,
He said, wait for an year. After that, you come and talk to me. Okay, fine. I mean, his decision. Let's see how it goes. Then eventually, after when we saw after an year, okay, it was in potential hires. Those were okay. That was not the skill hire. Like the way you said,
yeah.
those were like potential hires. We saw they were doing extremely good. So in that sense, there are sometimes particular pedigree from that institute or the college. Sometimes it's goes like through in the water. I mean, you cannot judge like based on the skills. You should see also for the potentials as well.
Yeah, it's a potential.
Yeah.
That's the right word.
How do you identify potential then?
Good question.
So that's the filter. Sometimes the college gives you some filter. Some filter. I'm not saying that's all.
So it also depends on the individuals as well.
Yeah.
So how I identify potential in some students or in some person, it's like how do I analyze?
Yeah.
So it depends on each
I have a one
individuals.
line answer.
Mhm.
Similar to how someone identified it in me.
Identify.
How I identify potential is similar to how someone identified it in me some time ago.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So yeah, I wanted to, there is a, I understand there is a art part to this. Okay. And the art is
If
different, depends on the artist that is
Hmm.
evaluating. Well, I wanted to find out if there is any
okay, yeah. I
underlying
mean, if you're
science
looking
to
for
this.
some examples, I can say how I look for. In fact, how is the approach and how is the interest? Okay, if they have interest, commitment, dedication, approach, learning ability, and learning interest. These are the potential factors. If
Yeah.
they have all this, some of the parameters, I would say,
Mm.
if they have all this, at least I can have a sense that the person has dedication,
Yeah.
committed, learning ability, capability. Why don't I give one chance to this person?
Yeah.
So that's where the potential starts. One person, if they fail, it's fine. But are they putting 100% efforts? If it is yes, give one more chance. They will succeed.
Yeah. There are many
So yeah.
ways to identify, but see, the larger reality is, um, there is tremendous amount of potential out there. That is the truth, right? So it is not, we're not trying to sort of figure out one person out of 5,000 people, like Professor said. So the good thing is the job is not super tough for us. So there is a lot of potential out there. The what do you call the more trickier task comes in to be able to find somebody whose potential matches our requirement. All right. So there are 100 people. Everyone has potential. Most of them have good potential. And what is it that I bring to the table? Does it kind of talk to what that person brings to the table? Right. My ability as a hiring leader is limited only to that. Do you like what I have for you, and do you have what I want from you? ये अगर if I'm able to sort of map well, the puzzle is fitting even loosely, the rest of it we'll build together. That is intent part.
What is, so according to Sharath, it is, say, learning ability, problem solving ability. What is potential according to you, Ashutosh? When you look at a new kid on the block, what are the things that quickly, make your ears go up and be like, okay, I want this guy?
Yeah. So one is, of course, when you get the guy is you go through the scientific process that you've laid out for the organization, right? He will go through some sort of test, and then he goes through interview rounds, couple of panel discussions, and we say, okay, he's kind of met that criteria, let's hire him. So that's the first thing. I guess that's very scientific process. Of course, now there is some subjectivity based on the interviewer. There is always the kind of, some subjectivity there, right? One may be looking at different type of skills compared to other, but more or less, it's I will say it's a scientific process. Part of it is also organizational culture. Over the years, you develop that. Hey, when you are interviewing, you look for this, you look for that, you look for that. Eventually, it gets imbibed in a way. You ask your questions and you pick up the candidates. It's kind of lot of time it's unconscious. Okay. But once you have candidate, generally it's always like you put someone on assignment and you see how what he does, how new ideas he bring up, how he solves the problem. And generally those are the things that get picked up to say, I see the potential in this candidate, I want to invest in him. Okay. And I see that all the time in my current organization, in my previous organization. I'll tell you, I mean, a lot of guys who have worked with, they've done really well. Some of them have grown to the director and VP level now. And when I look at them, I feel good about that. Hey, I trusted him at that point of time. It's also some amount of trust that you have to build in those candidates, right? At that point of time. Hmm? It's part of it is trust, part of it is, hey, you get some cues based on what they deliver in challenging circumstances. Part of it, sometimes they give you idea, you say, hey, he came out with this idea, that's really great, no one thought about it, and then you start trusting him more. Okay. So I guess it's very non-scientific. It's kind of lot of it is just actually what you observe along the way. Yeah.
So just
Mm.
like why organization is investing in us, because they have seen some potential in us. So
Yeah,
that's why they're investing with us. Yeah.
that's what he
Yeah,
said.
that's what he said.
Yeah.
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 So Deepak, let's
Mm.
let's shift it. Your son is not in semiconductor. You are a semiconductor pro, and what are the skills, irrespective of the industry, that you would be happy to see in your son? What are the traits that you would want him to exhibit that will make you happy as a father?
Yeah, I think a lot of those are covered by these three gentlemen, right? So it's basic, fundamental values, right? So whether he is demonstrating commitment, whether he is disciplined, right? He is having that great passion and perseverance, right? So those are the basic common qualities we all look for, right? And that's
True.
what decides the long term success for each one of us. I think that's the same thing I would look for, and that would make me happy if I see my son having those qualities.
Karthik, shifting back to you, what are the qualities that you would like to see in your son? You've seen so many students over years. What are the qualities that you see you would like to see in your son that will make you happy as a father?
What has happened already till yesterday, you leave that right now. That's what I tell them, or any of my students also. As in the past laurels which are there, right? The marks that I may have got, or the admission that I may have got, or what I did not get. Okay, let's say a kid is there who was aspiring for an IIT or something, couldn't get. Leave everything aside. That's what I tell. The past is over, either good or bad, whatever it is. Okay. Right now, from where you are, even from that point, if you integrate the values that Deepak just spoke about, or Sharad just spoke about right now, the other guys here, you can still reach the moon or Mars or whichever planet you want to reach. As in, nothing can stop you. But it is just that from right now, you have to decide that I will be perseverant. I will have the right attitude towards work. I will do something that I like to do. This is something that I always tell kids, whether my kids or my students as well, that focus on what you like. I'll tell you why this is important, because in India, somehow, because of the 90s or the earlier trend, where we had only some SBI or some banks hiring or something, our children, or in our genes, this idea came in that I should go into an education for a job. So what happened because of that is kids started forgetting what is their interest, or putting that aside. You get my point, right? So everyone, for example, there was a time 10 years back where everyone wanted computer engineering. Why? Because that's where the jobs are. Hurry, who told you that? It's absolutely, it's not like that, because I'm in placements. I see that. I mean, though here perhaps we
Yeah,
have
it's
people
not
from the
like
IT
that. Yeah.
sector. I mean, I see so much of opportunity in mechanical, civil. There's so much, electrical engineering. There's so much opportunity. Yesterday, I was in a company in Mumbai, Burns and McDonnell. So they were giving the presentation of the kind of opportunities that are there in electrical engineering. Because they were saying that in the entire North America now, a lot of their electrical grids, they are old, failing. To redesign that, all that work is coming to India, and they were saying that we don't have enough good electrical engineers right now. So why is that happened? Perhaps there is a kid out there who was genuinely interested in that, who liked the Kirchhoff law and all that stuff that he studied in physics. But he thought that there is only job in IT, so let me do Java programming. Hey,
Mhm.
who told you that? So I think this thing is also important. You decide what you're interested in, right? And whatever area you're interested in, you put your full passion and perseverance. My God, I can't imagine where you will reach. That's possible even if your past was not good. As in, let's say you messed up your whatever, some entrance exam or something. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. As long as from today I decide I will instill all the right values that all these gentlemen spoke about, and work from that in any field, whatever it may be, I can reach any place I want. I think that's very, very important.
So in fact, I mean that trend is already changing in North America. I was just in USA a couple of weeks back, and I met with three, four of my friends, and the kids have kind of grown, and they're
Mm.
looking for. So the computer science wasn't their first preference, and it's not because they didn't want to do computer science, because they had a specific interest. So electrical engineering, to your point, I was surprised to see his both his daughter and son, they took electrical engineering because of their core interest, and also I guess they see the need now. Okay, so we can see that a lot of innovation has happened in IT, because last 2 decades have been all software, software, software. Now software will become enabler and kind of support, and that's how it has been. But a lot of the core fields that you look at, like mechanical, electrical, the innovation hasn't kind of gone at a pace that we see in IT. So I'm sure there is going to be next couple of decades, there will be a lot of opportunity to innovate and make those fields better than what they've been. But that trend I do see in US already. India, we generally do the catch-up game. So I think maybe uh,
Yes.
3, 4, 5 years down the road, we'll see that trend catching up in India as well. Hmm?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Mm,
Yeah.
One
So we're
liners.
good. Thank you very much.
mm,
So, it was a very interesting discussion.
One liners you have.
One liners, I have questions, but
Mhm.
mm,
we'll do it. Okay.
mm.
So Karthik likes it.
That's our USP. And,
So we do something called decision dilemmas, where we have a few questions, and then you guys choose between one or the other,
Mm.
and then we started after you did. So, and then so you don't have to rationally justify or anything. It's just your preference. It's like, okay, so I have different questions coming to my mind. I'll just keep my thoughts to myself, and then I'll start with you, Anand. Anand,
Mm.
so I just have a couple of questions for each of you. So we'll finish it quick. So skill-based hiring or pedigree-based hiring?
Skill based.
Uh, brilliance with no network or average with a push in network?
In between.
You have to choose either of the two.
Yeah, one of
He
the
didn't
If
two.
say
he
that.
says Deepika
He didn't say
Padukone
that.
or Katrina Kaif, you have to say one
In
of them. You
between
can't
कोई
say.
नहीं
That
दोनों
part of
चलेंगे
you
बीच में
can't.
भी
That part of Katrina.
चलेगा
So you'll have to edit that now. This has got too much.
है. No, neither. Both are old.
Okay, so Ashutosh, a fresh perspective or a delivery certainty when you're looking for fresh talent?
Fresh perspective.
Brand name college or proven project work?
Brand name
Okay.
college.
You're congruent with your stand.
He's
Like,
in
Yes.
But he
line
has
that.
justified that.
Yeah.
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 So Sharat, one standout project or consistent CGPA?
Standard project.
Strong communicator or a deep domain thinker?
Deep domain thinker.
Okay. Deepak, a tier one city college or a hidden gem from a rural India?
No, I would, I would.
Your personal perspective,
Yeah.
No, it's not about person. I would, I would require both, right? I don't want to be having a clone, right? So at the same time, I want to have the diversity, right? So I would prefer rural gem basically.
Okay.
That's the point.
Uh,
Yeah.
a hackathon champ or an intern with a rigor?
Again, it depends on the context,
Everything depends. That's why I put you on a spot.
Yeah.
Intern with rigor, definitely. Yeah.
Good. Karthik, so employability or entrepreneurship?
Employability. Because I can't tell my students that, everybody find your own company. Then what am I going to do here?
Yeah.
Because
Theory or
anyway, that's just 50%. Yeah.
yeah, theory or practical project?
Practical projects.
Okay, so that's about it. It was wonderful, and it is great from a GCC perspective. You guys shared, and from a talent perspective also, you shared a lot of things. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.